It's a new day in my village. The sun is shining so bright. Everyone looks excited. People are heading to their various places of work. Children are heading to school. Whereas for me, I am on my way to the market. I want to get new wrappers for the upcoming event. The prince is going to choose a bride. I know I am not a good match for Prince Chima, but I would like to give it a try by looking my best. I walked down to the junction of my street to board a bus going to the market. After 30 minutes of waiting under a very hot sun, an empty blue bus came and we rushed inside it, each person forcing themselves to pass through the door. The driver only spoke once and said, "Careful, don't spoil my door." Unlike other drivers who would ask where each person was heading to and tell them the price immediately, the driver was quiet all through the journey. I noticed people started falling asleep gradually. I was a bit surprised. Was everyone on the bus going to the market? And even if we are all going to the market, why are they all asleep? The driver turned, looked at me in a strange way, and asked, "Where are you going to?" I said I will be stopping at the village second market. He then responded, "Okay, we will soon get there." That was all. I think I also feel asleep too, because the moment I opened my eyes, I saw myself in a big building filled with so many people. I was shocked, but something I later understood was that we were hypnotized. The other passengers were all weak but also surprised. It was like something left them. While we were seated on the floor, a very huge man, he was so tall almost reaching the rooftop, asked us to stand up and weigh ourselves. He separated us based on our weight. Some people were kept in a different room. I and a lady were the only ones in my room. The lady looked so ill. She was seriously crying and pleading for them to release her. She had to go to the hospital, but to no avail. That evening, we were served a very big portion of rice to eat. We were ordered to finish every food that was served. I had to force myself to finish my food, but the lady close to me couldn't. The guide on duty wanted to beat her. I pleaded with him and she finished the food, so he left. That night I couldn't sleep. I was so curious. What are they using us for? Why are we here? Why are they feeding us such large amounts of food? The girl close to me turned and said, "My name is Faith. What's your name?" "My name is Adaeze," I responded. Faith then said, "I am scared. What are they going to do with us?" I looked at her. I could feel her pain, but I was also scared. I told her not to worry, that everything was going to be fine. We talked all through the night of how we entered the wrong bus that led us to where we are now. Something surprising to me was how the guard kept watch. They were so diligent in taking turns with no one sleeping. The next morning, another food was brought for us to eat, but I couldn't lift a spoon up as I was already feeling bloated from what I ate yesterday. The guard looked at me and said, "You obey whatever you are told to do. No hesitation, no questions." Before he could say another word, I passed out a loud, offensive gas. The room was choked. He then looked at me and said, "Make sure to fix yourself. You won't skip lunch." As for Faith, a bitter herbal drink was given to her. She was forced to finish every bit of it. Immediately she was done. She slept off like someone who was lifeless. Faith was still asleep at noon. I was scared. Was she given poison? Why isn't she waking up? I started crying. That was when the strong girl in me disappeared. I thought I would be next. But to my greatest surprise, Faith woke up in the evening like someone who returned back into her body. She turned, looked at me, and closed her eyes back. At that point, I was confused. I thought, in my heart, has she been possessed? Why is she acting weird? Unknown to me, her body was trying to accept the concussion that was given to her. The next morning, Faith woke up feeling absolutely fine, and I was shocked. How come? How is it that they knew what to give to you? What are their plans? After forcing a big bowl of swallow down my throat, we were asked to wait so that we could be weighed. While they weighed us, I noticed it was just female people I could see. There wasn't any male person again. So I asked the lady close to me, "What about the men?" "They tied their eyes and have been sent back to their villages, so we heard." She replied, "I hope it's true. I can only endure this with the belief that my husband is with my kids." I could feel her pain. Then I asked myself yet again, why were only the females kept? That evening a bus came and picked up 10 girls from a particular group, which they called the best fit. I thought in my heart, Probably they will feed us and send us back to our villages, but that can't be the case. No one is too kind to do such a thing. The women and girls they carried every day. Where are they taking them to? Why is no one here talking? They behave as if they stitched their mouths. They kept on bringing large portions of food to us, and Faith and I were always forced to finish the food that was given to us. I wasn't adding in any way. I only get bloated or constipation after each meal. For Faith, she gradually started adding. Not just that, she was adding in the right places. Her shape became defined. More like her sickness was the reason why she was slim. The boss in charge visited us one day. The way he looked at Faith, so lustful, as if he would strip her off her clothes. But Faith wasn't moved. We all were eager to know what they wanted to do with us. As time passed, Faith was taken to another room. She had passed the weight to stay in my room. I was so lonely, I got depressed. No one to talk to. All I did was look through a high window, but couldn't see anything. Gradually, I started writing on the walls of the prison room. The days I couldn't write, I would draw beautiful flowers. This kept on until one fateful day, a new set of people were brought. And I got someone to stay in my room too. Her name was Goodness. I and Goodness bonded immediately. She read everything I had written on the wall, and it felt she could see me through it. She encouraged me that soonest we will be out of here. I only thought to myself, my dear, there's no way out. You're just arriving. The next morning, while we were checking our weight, I didn't see Goodness. I was scared. I thought she was taken alongside the other women, but I remembered she wasn't yet in the best fit group. Before they could finish weighing everyone, she ran into the premises panting. I asked her what happened. She said when we get to the room. After weighing her, she held my hands and we went back to the room. That was when she told me she sneaked out with the men that carried the last set of girls. She wanted to know if there was a way out, but they stopped at a particular place where a car was already waiting, so she couldn't see the remaining part. So we quickly drew the part she saw under the bed to prevent any guard from seeing it. Goodness knew she had the ability to add weight, so she forced herself to throw up after each meal. She didn't want to leave the room by any means. All the areas she knew and her plans to escape were under her bed. She couldn't risk it in any way. I always met Faith whenever we left our rooms to get weighed. Until one fateful day, I didn't see her. I was scared. I cried my eyes out. She was the first friend I had made here, and we always tried to extend a hand of help to one another. After weighing myself, I didn't wait for Goodness. As usual, I went back to the room. After a few minutes, Goodness joined me. She then told me everything she had heard. She said, "Do you know we are being sold off to whoever pays the highest money? We are their source of money." She then added, "Your friend Faith was part of the ladies taken today, but I heard them mention they were taking her to their boss's house." The moment I heard this, a buzzbomb ran all over me. Fear gripped me. I couldn't breathe well. It felt like I was slowly fainting. To my greatest surprise, I felt a hand tapping me to wake up and have my breakfast. It was the guide on duty. I said to myself, "Why am I still alive? Why?" I cried my eyes out. Goodness's map was gradually coming together. She found out that the only way out was to either get the key from the guard who manned the major gate. Other places weren't locked. We couldn't easily pass there when the guards go to take turns without being caught. We spent weeks trying to figure a way to get those keys. One evening, when everyone had eaten and gone to bed, we set off to leave. Like Goodness mentioned, the walls of the place were so tall, but we gradually escaped and got to the major gate. We noticed there was a window we could use rather than going through the gate because we weren't sure we will succeed if we used the gate. We tore out wrappers and threw them through the window. I passed through the window easily, but Goodness couldn't because of her hips. She forced herself through the window and had a fracture, but she wasn't bothered. We gradually and quietly left the place, avoiding to make sound of any kind. When we were completely out of the building, she walked as far as our legs could carry us. We wanted to go far, so that by morning the guards wouldn't be able to catch up with us. We rested at a particular place. We couldn't sleep as it was all bushes, with a lot of mosquitoes, and we were scared too. The next morning, we could see cars moving. We thought we were close to a major road. To our greatest surprise, the guards were in search of us. I tied Goodness's hip side with a wrapper and we ran as fast as our legs could carry us. But we also tried to hide and prevent the leaves from moving so they wouldn't know the particular part we were. But we could hear them. Goodness couldn't run further due to her injured hip bone, so she asked me to go without her. I cried and asked if I could carry her. She responded, "No need. Run, Ada, run," she said. I ran as fast as I could without looking back. Soon I lost the guards but kept on running without any direction. At night, I had to rest. Because the place was very dark and I was too tired, I didn't even have the strength to be scared. I just needed to sleep. I prayed in my heart that no harm would come my way. While praying, I dozed off. The next day I continued my journey, wandering around the bush without a direction. I wasn't even sure if I was leaving or going round a cycle or probably returning back to the place I was just coming from. I wandered for 3 days. I was tired, hungry, and couldn't do anything. All I needed at that moment was water to drink, but there wasn't anywhere to get water from. I looked around and decided to rest under a tree. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hut with an old woman cooking by the side. I was so scared, I immediately started pleading with her not to harm me. She turned, looked at me, and asked why would I do so. Then she told me I was lying helpless on her farm, so she called her boy to help bring me home. She then asked me why I was there and if I was from their village, to which I quickly asked which village it was. She said Ogidi, and I said no, I am from Agulu. I responded, "What are you doing here?" The old woman asked. I then explained my ordeal to her. She then told me I had been there for 6 months and asked if I would still remember my place, to which I said I did. She promised to take me home. I stayed with the old woman, Mama Lizzie as she was popularly called by her village people, for 5 days. She took me back to my village herself, accompanied by her first son, on the 6th day. When we got to my village, my parents were shocked to see me, as they had looked everywhere for me. I explained everything to my parents. I was given food to eat. The old lady, Mama Lizzie, was thanked greatly, and my parents forced her son to take some farm products along as they were going back. I was at home and safe now, but the thought of that place kept on haunting me. I couldn't forget Goodness. I felt bad I had to leave her behind. She was the reason I am back in my village. She was like a destiny helper. As days went by, my family informed the king of my return and explained all I had told them. So the king joined forces with the king of Ogidi. They sent a lot of youth to that particular community in search of the building I explained. We all prayed for the men to return safely. They went there and set all the girls they could see free. I really hoped to see Goodness. I thought in my heart she was taken back to the building. But when the girls came out, Goodness wasn't part of them. They destroyed the building and all the guards were chained and dragged around the community. I couldn't forget Goodness. I didn't know if she was able to escape, if she was died, or if she was sold. I only prayed deep down she escaped. She was my destiny helper. My name is Adaeze, and this is my story. Thanks for listening to me. Moral lesson: be cautious of your environment. If Adaeze had quickly dropped from the vehicle the moment she noticed everyone was sleeping, she wouldn't have gone through all this. We should always commit our days. And thank you for watching my stories. To my returning subscribers, thanks a lot. I really appreciate. If you're new on this channel, welcome to the family. On this channel we tell beautiful African tales. So always grab your popcorn when you get a notification from us. Also, please don't forget to like, leave a comment on how you feel about the characters in each stories. Share to loved ones, as it helps the channel to grow. Until then, we will meet again in our next story. Bye for now.